Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Brian here. This is Saturday of Model Rail Scotland and I couldn't make it in. Oof, you don't want to know the story, but yeah, physically I couldn't make it in. Wasn't too well. So I was there on the Friday and I did pick some stuff up and I got these Baltimore and Ohio coaches. These are £12 each. Absolute bargain. And the reason I got them was because I discovered that it said with lighted interior. So I've got some Baltimore and Ohio locomotives and I've started getting the coaches for it. This is more for the future. Whether it'll run on this track, I doubt it very much. But I did discover that we've got a little new 060. Got that for 30 quid. Absolute bargain. Runs like a dream. But yeah, I got these 50-foot freight cars, box cars. So we've got a nice Canadian Pacific there. And one says air cushion load in black, which I thought was really cool, and a Canadian National, which is a bit out of era and spec, but I'm going to black bits off it. But yeah, the 50-foot does run round these curves, which is a surprise, apart from over here. So what I've had to do is kind of butcher the back of that rock area and inside the tunnel. So it's kind of drying off with some glue just now and I'll paint that up on the inside and the 50-foot should pass through there okay now. So yeah, that was some of the stuff I got. These three here. The two coaches. And we've got an AccuRail boxcar as well. This one. That was £6. Very good. And we also got this DCC fitted for 35 quid, a GP7. So yeah, I'll get that out, test that, see how that's doing. That one there runs just a treat. And I've got a couple other items that I'll show you. Some mostly spare parts that I got. I needed a load of small detail items, so I got them at Langley Models at Model Rail Scotland. So yeah, we've got another little update and all this stuff. The hardware store, the weathering of the stock. There we go. So enjoy. Be back with you soon. So with the oil brusher, I'm using the Ammo oil brusher. It's an excellent product. I've got a selection of colours there, and what I'll do is kind of just show you roughly how I do it. There's no right or wrong way to do it, just experiment and have fun. But here you see me, I've added rust dots and now I've moved on to add the grey dots. Then I go on to add the buff dots. Then once they're on, I'll add some rust dots at the bottom and that'll start giving me a kind of variation of tone, and then I just basically kind of blend them in top and bottom. And you can see here sped up that basically the brush without any thinners on it is basically rubbing each colour. You start off with the red, then the grey, then the buff, and you kind of just, as you can see, I'm using a kind of light stroke, one-handed filming and doing it didn't really help show exactly, but continue to do it, buff it in without any thinners and just keep buffing it off. Wipe the brush on the kitchen towel and voila, you end up with a nicely weathered panel on the side of your freight. On this one I decided to go with a dark brown and a dark blue, and I used blue in certain areas on the side just to help kind of bring in the tone and the flavour of the light blue is there, then using buff to kind of show it faded, because the beauty of the oils are they're translucent, you can see through them. So the very easy technique, I think, to get the hang of. It takes a while to dry, and here I'm using a slightly damp brush of thinners which helps blend in the colours and tones and can lift areas as well. It does take a while to dry and you will need to do some dull coat on it to help seal it in, but I think it's an effective technique. It's slightly different from the acrylics. And it's basically me just learning these techniques and practicing them and seeing what I can do with them and not being afraid to use them and not being intimidated by them. At the end of the day, it's all your own practice, it's all your own techniques that you're applying to these. So you can see here, that's nice and lightly weathered, and it just takes it from being a brand new plastic looking toy to something a little bit more realistic when it's running around the layout. And here's a couple more of the freight cars I've done many of them. I wasn't going to show you them all. And again, the technique varies. Here you can see some dark brown round the handles. Here we've got some green on it. So yeah, use different tones just to create different moods and flavours. I've enjoyed doing it, and I would recommend that you give it a bash yourself. I didn't really record much of the process of me doing the locomotive. It was something I just sat with kind of prototype pictures and done my level best to kind of recreate it. I'm very happy with how the locomotives turned out. I wanted them aged and old looking as per prototype in the 50s, and I just feel it suits Angel's Ridge Railroad to have these kind of battered and used locomotives running along the line. On eBay, I saw this kit for about 20 quid. It's a general store by the company Lifelike. It comes with lots of nice parts. I basically primed it, and I also got a 3D printed big steam boiler thing as well that's going to be associated with it because it's now going to be a hardware store. So painting it an aged white and US interior yellow, I done each of the boards in different colours to suggest aging. and to take away the kind of gaudy plastic that it was initially. Painted the windows a blue-grey. So you can see the little kind of steam boiler thing there. Looks pretty cool, all painted up, rusted. Yeah, so as a hardware store, I'm going to have lots of little kind of metal items and whatnot round about it. Some way, shape or form will have that little steam boiler thing associated with it. So you can see that I've painted the roof, all the different little parts, added the fence at the side, added some details and a figure to give it some scale, and I put it on the layout. And yeah, I really like it. I think it looks pretty cool and I'm very happy with it. So thanks for tuning in this layout update so far and looking at the structure and the weathering that I've done, which I'll continue to do, and I've got more stuff to add to the layout and more details to add as well. So thanks again, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.